Good morning. It is February 1st, 2026. My name is Jessica, and welcome to my FlossTube channel, HeroBorn Stitches. On this channel, we will talk mostly about cross stitch. Today, it's all cross stitch, but every once in a while, some of my other crafts will sneak in. I have 12 WIPs to show you today. WIPs stand for Works in Process, and one of those is a finish, which I'm super excited about. I always hope that my videos won't be super long, but they always end up being. So I'm going to try to keep this brief. Try not to squirrel too much, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So today, there's really not a whole lot to do. I have a minor insignificant life update, I guess, because there's really nothing been going on. I want to work through my WIPs, which includes temperature stitching and SALs, set stitch alongs, and my WIPGO process, WIPGO progress. And yeah, that's about it. I don't have any haul. I'll talk a little bit about plans going forward, but that's about it. So let's go ahead and get started. So first thing is life update. And like I said, I promised to keep it brief. It is Sunday today. And the reason I didn't record yesterday is because we had an event, a surprise birthday party for one of my husband's friends that we had to go to sort of in the middle of the day. And I knew it would sort of interrupt everything. Also, it was January 31st, and I still had some January goals I wanted to work on. So it just seemed like a really good thing to wait, hold off, and then record this when today, I guess, after January was over and February had started. So other than that, I have just been working. I've been stitching like crazy, trying to get my goals taken care of. But yeah, that's really what I've been up to. So WIPs, I told you, brief life update. WIPs, let's start with my finish. So my finish, if you watched me last week, shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. It is the October Sky Sampler by Elizabeth Designs. This is what it would look like when it is finished. Well, it is finished. This is what it was supposed to look like. It looks like that. This is where it was last time you saw it. I just had a little bit of the back stitch down in the lower right-hand corner to add the beads and add the charms. And I did get that done. It is still, I ironed it, but man, it is still a little wrinkly. I guess that's what happens when stuff sits neglected for 30 years. So this is on some kind of really pretty blue linen. I have absolutely no idea. I want to say it's 36 count. I know it's not 28. It seems a little smaller than 32, but look at me. I got it all done. And if you guys have really good advice on how to keep charms where they're supposed to be, especially when they're hanging and like at a diagonal, I would appreciate that. But so what I did is I finished that little bit of cross stitch, a little bit of back stitch down here, and added all those beads. And there was a fair amount of beads. The place where there was the most beads was up here in this grapevine. Oh my gosh, that was like 8 beads all right next to each other for each of those. But yeah, it is finished. And those charms that I got from the Tinsmith's Wife all look really good on there. And this one is killing me down here. There's this little, where is it? Right here, this little leaf just does not want to lay, and it's supposed to be on a diagonal. I'm going to have to tack it or something. But yeah, so this is done. Do not even know when I started this. Started this a very super long time ago. Had to go through heroic efforts to find the beads, not the beads, the charms, but I did, and it is done. This was so much fun to do. Just a nice variety of specialty stitches. It's all in DMC with one over-dyed water lilies. And so fun. So fun. I'm super glad to have it done. And because of the charms and the beads and everything, I think it's going to end up having to be framed. And maybe I can tack that little charm. There's a little bee up at the top that likes to move too. And the rabbit. I don't know. They're all over the place. Super cute though. I will see if while I'm doing this, if I can just take a big picture. My screen just flashed. I'm not sure whether that came across, whether I can take like a really good picture of it so you guys can see it more close up. And if so, I will insert it in here. Okay. And that was finished as part of temperature stitching. Now, I don't know what happened with temperature stitching this week because I always look at all of the temperatures on Saturday morning and write those down and get that figured out. And I make a list, and I was checking it off as I was going through, and October Sky was finished as part of that. And when I was putting my whips together, I had all of my temperature stitching done, but I only have 6 days accounted for. So I don't know what happened that other day. And I just sat and looked. I can't figure out what that other day was. I know October Sky was only called once. There was one piece that was called twice. So, and I did 200 stitches on that. So I don't know what I did. I really don't. But we'll go with it. Maybe I know what it is. Anyway, so temperature stitching, for anyone who doesn't know, is just a way of really getting some progress on whips, things that you've had for a while. For me, anyway, things that you've had for a while and you want to get done. They're not going to be a focus piece, but it would be nice to see them moved forward. So what I do is I take digits 0 through 9. And I look at the temperatures for the upcoming week, the highs, and I will stitch 100 stitches on each project that corresponds with the last digit of the high temperature for that day. And like I said, I look at it in the morning on Saturdays and just kind of go from there. So the next piece of temperature stitching I have, which is one that I think might be my mystery piece here, it is the Sun and Moon Sampler by the Scarlet Letter. Again, a very old project. This is where it was last time you saw it. It is on everything that came with the kit, all the ingredients in the kit. Still working on that order. It is it's all silk. It's 1 strand over 1 thread. I guess I should say that October Sky, for the most part, is 2 strands over 2 when we're not specialty stitching and doing stuff like that. But it's wrinkly, still working on the border. So what I did when I picked this up is I went all the way into all of this kind of dark green around the border. And then there is also gold silk in between sort of those green stitches. So I have worked the gold all the way across the top and down a little bit here on the side. I don't know whether you can see the difference there between where the gold is and where the gold is not. But so it is pretty boring stitches. This is the one I think I might have put 200 stitches in on my missing day. Pretty boring stitching though right now, just going through and adding the gold around the border, but very much eating my vegetables, try to get that done before I do the rest. So it is not a big piece, but it's a little bit more stitching intensive than you would think looking at it. So I like I said, it's kind of boring stitching, but I'm always happy when it comes up, and it's kind of just been rotated back into temperature stitching. I think I finished all the border first time around, started on the gold. So hopefully we'll at least get all the gold all the way around before it is done with temperature stitching. The next piece that came up is Little Gems 2 by Gemstones. And this is a terrible picture, and I apologize for that. Even the picture on the chart is very, very poor. And this is where it was when I started. I think it was a late found WIP for me when I started putting videos together. And I had very little done on it. I almost didn't even count it as a WIP, but I did, and it hit my list. And as I was going through trying to take care of trying to put things into temperature stitching that I didn't have a start date for, this was on there. This is one of those that I've kind of been a little bit dreading putting in. You can see from the picture that very little was done, but there's like drawn thread work around the little motif. Finished, this is like 4 by 4 inches or 4.5 by 4.5. So it will be a small piece. There's not a ton of stitching in it, but that drawn thread stuff was killing me. It was absolutely killing me. But I did manage to get that whole little border done of all that drawn thread around there. And that was counting each stitch as half a stitch, since it wasn't a full cross. That was still 128 stitches to get that little drawn thread border finished. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I'm not going to lie, but I was saying lots of bad words while I was doing it. And you know, it's silk, and silk is usually pretty strong, and you have to pull pretty tight to get that little effect there. And I was breaking threads, and I mean, it's sat around for a while, so it could be that the threads were kind of old too. And it's linen. It's like a 36 count sort of dusty blue linen. It's coming across pretty true on there, kind of a blue gray. And it has slubs and all of those things. Like, it's linen. So you've got some real thin threads and some thicker threads, and trying to do those little, whatever they are, was a pain. It was a pain in the ass, literally. But I got that done. So next time it is like a rice stitch border kind of around this. The thing is square. I don't know whether you could see that. There is another section of drawn thread work. I have 2 more rounds before there's some drawn thread, but it's easier than these little whatchamadillers. So yeah, so I think all of this just came in a kit. Maybe the fabric didn't, I'm not sure, but I think it all just came in a kit. I got it forever ago. Either when my daughter was very, very young, like before she was 2, or before she was born even. So it's out, it's making progress, and I think it'll be done before it reaches the end of temperature stitching, before it kind of gets its 10 calls, which is when I try to cut that temperature stitching out. The next piece of temperature stitching is Daffodil Drive by Stitching with the Housewives. I'm just working on the sign. I had finished the house previously. This is where it was last time you saw it. And this is where I am. Now, I suppose this could have been called for 200, like, I have no idea. But one of them, I think I did 200 stitches on. I really don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. But this is where I got. So I just finished off the words. It was enough to finish off the words, and then get a good start on the checkerboard border on the bottom. There is another checkerboard border on the top. And I shouldn't say checkerboard. It's really more gingham on the top of this, but I'm going to have to work my way up because I don't want to count up there. This will go pretty quick when it is called. It is almost mindless stitching. So it is on 28 count Monaco, just Charles Craft Monaco with called for classic color works is what that is. So that got a little bit of work on it. The piece of temperature stitching that got a lot of work on it, and I know was called for 200 stitches, actually got 700 stitches because I was doing some makeup stitching. this is what it will look like when it's done. It is G from the Prairie Schooler, their alphabet series. I think there's usually 3 letters per chart. This chart has G, H, and I. Why I started there, I don't know. And I didn't even really start there. This is something that I bought for my daughter many years ago, wanting to teach her how to cross stitch. And she had absolutely no interest at that point in time. But she does now. So there we go. Planted a seed. And I had it just hanging out for so long, and just a very, very, very little bit was done. It had gone through 1 round of temperature stitching before. This is where it was the last time you saw it. I went ahead and put it back into temperature stitching because I had a lot of stuff rotating out. And I think it kind of came around the Christmas time, and I was focusing on, I have no idea whether that was captured by the mic. Sometimes it is not, often it is not, but the dogs just sang the song of their people. If it was captured, I might leave it in. The joy of having wolfhounds. A couple times a day, they just need to sing to me. Anyway, so when it was rotated back into temperature stitching originally, I think I was kind of switching. It was probably December, and I was trying to focus on holiday pieces. And so there were 500 stitches on it that I owed it, that I kind of moved into the stitches I owed. When it came up originally, because I have so many things I wanted to finish by the end of January, so many January goals that I was a little bit behind on, I did not think I would be doing the makeup stitching, but then I just picked it up, and it's just, I mean, it's the Prairie Schooler. It's good, relaxing, fun stitching. So I did all of those stitches. So this is where we're at now. So I finished everything in the H. We did the whole B. I know I still need to put the white in the wings of the bee, but that is what it is going to look like. I have a little flower to put in the little box that says is for honey, but all of those colors go up around the border also. So I was trying to finish colors that I had. I'm not quite done with the roof up here, I don't think. I think I have another line just to connect it. So there are things I need to fill in the little beehives, and there's a teeny bit of back stitching every once in a while. But, and then this flower down here needs to be filled in. But like I said, I was just trying to pick a color and go with it. So yeah, so it got 700 stitches. It doesn't have many days left in my temperature stitching rotation before it would come out. But I think I'm going to work on it till it's done. It's so close. Now, the bigger question is, am I going to start the G and the I in the chart? And just a little peek into my brain, the way my crazy brain works. I keep seeing all these things on FlossTube about people doing 26 and 26, and they're doing alphabet related projects in 26. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is perfect. It has like a chart for every letter of the alphabet. And so I could just do, clearly, I could get 26 letters done. It has only taken me 20 years probably to get that one done, right? So I start as I'm stitching, I'm plotting. How many of these would I need to do a month? And because you can still find them. They're old, but you can still find them. And then I was like, what am I going to do with 26? Yeah, I hope I don't do that. I hope that idea goes away. But that is all the temperature stitching. Like I said, I'm either short a project, or I did 200 stitches on one of those and I didn't write it down. Either way, it's the next week and we are moving on. So the next thing to talk about is SALs. I have 4 SALs I'm currently participating in. SAL stands for stitch alongs, and I am an along addict. You give me a quilt along, knit along, stitch along, especially if it's a mystery. Ooh, gets me every time. So the first one I want to talk about is the Steady Thread 2026 stitch along. These are things she puts together for free every year. They're amazing. And there's a border and a central piece. And like I describe it as like choose your own adventure stitching, because she has lots of different options, border wise, weekly, and you can just everything fits like a jigsaw puzzle. So you can really have a very individualized piece. I don't have what it's going to look like when it's done because it's just a SAL and, you know, we're surprised every week by the release, but this is where it was last time you saw it. And so that next week came out and I went ahead and put that week's worth of stitching in right up there. Now, if you guys have watched me at all, you've probably heard me say that it is not a lot of stitching every week, and it's not. It's all black work, but those 4 little corner things was the stitching from last week. So very, very reasonable, very doable. And then I also worked on the border a little bit, this inner border a little bit. I added 1 strand worth of the tool shed. I'm using Cottage Garden threads and Love Seat and tool shed. And I just added some of the black to that inner border. So what I am doing with this is I'm doing the weekly piece, trying to keep up with the weekly stitching, which is very reasonable, and do 1 length of thread on the border. And it's all inner border and there is a square in the middle. It's a pretty thick inner border. And then there is a square of black work in the middle. And there's a number of different things you can choose from for the square also. So yeah, this is just on 18 count Aida. And it is actually everything that the new releases come out on Thursday, and it's everything I can do not to do the new release until after I film and can show you guys what the old release was. So, although I would very much like to just pick it up and finish the border, I also know there's other things that the inner border, lots of things that I need to do. So I'm keeping myself to 1 thread length every week, and it will get done. It'll get done. Small steps. The other SAL, it's not a current SAL, but I'm doing it along with the 2026 SAL, is the Steady Thread 2025 SAL, which I started late, stopped working on. And part of my deal with myself was that I was going to get this one finished. I wouldn't let myself start the other one if I didn't make a deal that I was going to get this one finished this year too. So this is what it would look like when it's done. You know, mine is different colors, but this is the layout and what everything's going to look like. And this is where you saw it last time. So I did what I told myself I was going to do and did another circle. It's this dark red one over here. Did another circle, and then worked 1 thread worth on the border. And I had a little bit of border to finish down at the bottom, just a couple stitches. And then I started putting over here. So this is hard to do on camera. I started putting this stuff in down there. So continuing to make progress, 1 circle a week and 1 strand. So this is on Cafe au Lait. 28 count Aida by Fiber on a Whim. The black and border and circles is all black copy by Classic Color Works, and the colors are just leftover Classic Color Works pieces that I have from different projects. So yeah, so it's got some good progress. Well, a little bit of progress every day, a little bit of progress that works. I think I need to let the dogs out. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And instead of pausing, I stopped the recording. So now I get to splice things together, which is extra fun. Anyway, 2 more SALs. So the next one is Modern Folk Embroideries 2026 SAL little acorns. It will look like that when it is all done. I really haven't been taking before shots because I I was just working on the layout and the border like Jacob had recommended. Very, very much eating my vegetables. I am super happy to report that I got it done. So everything is laid out, everything is matched up. I am ready to start the first band. So it is a long thing, but it is all laid out and all ready to go. So now I can really just kind of work wherever I want, whether I want to follow his suggestions and kind of do this first border piece, or if I want to hop someplace else, I absolutely can. I'm kind of a rule follower. And then it's not a rule. Cross stitch doesn't have a lot of rules, but I kind of am. I am very good at following directions. So I will probably start on that. But yeah, so it is all laid out, all ready to go. Super, super happy. I actually did this. I picked it up and did not put it down. Oh, you can almost see it a little bit better. I just do that. I don't know. I picked it up and really didn't put it down after I stopped filming. As soon as like the editing and everything was going on, I was just like, I'm going to get this done. I'm just going to get this done because I had one more week and I had a really, really good start at the beginning of the year on it. And then I had picked it up a couple times. I knew it was easy stitching. I think I watched football while I did it. I knew it was easy stitching, but I knew I just needed to get it done. And so I just plugged through. So that is on 28 count Salt Bush by Fox and Rabbit with DMC 816 that I coffee dyed to kind of give it a little bit more dimension. I have not dyed thread before. Like I dye yarn all the time. I've dyed fabric. I haven't dyed thread before, and that was an interesting experience. Not a bad experience, but it was interesting. Untangling it was a problem. I would need to get better at doing that. Better at managing it when I'm dyeing it so it's not such a mess. But anyway, the last SAL that I worked on was the Heaven and Earth Designs 2026 SAL. I selected Dragon Muse, Fairy Tale by Dragon Muse. This is where it was last time you saw it. And this was really my project yesterday. I had not picked this up all week, but I was working on it yesterday after the party. Finished up that drawn thread stuff before the party. And I managed to put like 500 and some stitches into it. So I think I'm at like 29,500. Sorry, I wish I was at 29,000. 22,905 stitches or something like that. A little bit over 3% done. I am loving the way this is turning out, but it's going slowly a lot because I'm not picking it up as regularly as I should. This is on 20 count Easy Grid Ada. I am doing 2 strands of floss over 1 thread. I'm full cross. And I really am loving the coverage I'm getting. And I know it's a little bit tight, but it's not too bad. I love the coverage when I do. Well, I love the coverage with that combination. I think that is really my happy place for full coverage stitching, that 20 count with, because I love over 2 because I can loop. And it's not that I can't do other things. And like some pieces just don't make sense to do over 20 count and you need to go smaller. But this worked fine. I started like trying to get proper diagonals there, but I am just not sure. So I really liked the diagonals without parking. The parking drives me crazy. That one thread has been hanging there for a while, and I can't wait till I get to the point where I can just finish that off. And I guess I could do that whenever, but parking drives me nuts. In theory, I like it, but drives me nuts. So I was just really trying to do diagonals to stop the decision fatigue, because it was very, very clear what I needed to do next. And so it mixed the confetti in nicely with the stuff that was more block stitching. But I will never be able to do a proper, really, really clean diagonal, because it just is stupid to me if you've got a couple stitches that are just a little bit over, especially if they're isolated stitches and you're creating confetti for yourself by not stitching them. When you're in the vicinity, that just doesn't make any sense to me, and it will never make any sense to me. So I have been moving. I'm doing 20 stitch diagonals, because 10 would be insane to me. I can't even imagine that. And then I am crossing over into the next diagonal, not letting myself go further than the next diagonal, but I am crossing over. And I actually think I'm going to be crossing over more. If I'm following the idea of a diagonal, it makes the decision for me what color I'm stitching next, which is good. But I think I'm going to allow myself a fair amount, as long as I get that color done in that 20 stitch diagonal. As long as I finish it when I pick it up, I'm good. And then I can move over into the next diagonal wherever I need to. It just feels more efficient. And like, I don't need that straight line. It's fun to see the picture come out, whether or not you have a straight line. But yeah, I am getting just, I love this, and I love this project. And I stay up late every time I pick it up, working on it. Just one more color. I'm just going to get a little bit further, and watching the design come out very slowly, but the design come out is fun. It's really good. The next piece I have to show you, I guess it's kind of a stitch along. Yeah, sort of. Behind on it before I started, but it is, I am slaughtering artists' names on my FlossTube all the time. So I am just going to look that up and put it across the bottom. But it is Christmas Market. It's a series. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know how many there are of them. I think there might be 11 of them. I just got the third one in the mail the other day. I'm not really counting it as haul. So these are the first two, and the first one came out in December. I do have the January one, but I was very late in starting this, and this is the very sad little start that I had last time. So this is on Witchell, beautiful beige, very nice crunchy Witchell. With just the called for classic color works. Oh my gosh, I've got a needle sitting right there and a hanging thread, but we'll just take out the needle and let the thread hang. I had not worked on this, and really my pretty big crazy goal was that I would get all of December's done, which is this one. December's is extra, it's like 2 worth. And then do January's, at least get a really good start on January's. Well, I did not even get December's done, and I really didn't even pick this up until this week, and just did the white. Not all the white, but worked a lot on the white on the bottom. So I can start building out the frame. Just did a center start on this, because this piece is kind of center-ish of the whole pattern. I am questioning, I think I'll have enough room. I'm just questioning when I did the center start, whether I accounted for everything, but I think I'm okay. Like, I don't love stitching white, because white just looks messy unless if you railroad. And so to do this bit at the bottom, took a fair amount of time because it was a lot of railroading. But you can see I don't have a lot left of that. And then I can put the frame up around and start filling in the things. I didn't touch her at all. I just worked on white, on the snow on the bottom. And like I said, did I say this is just the called for Classic Colorworks on beautiful beige, crunchy Witchell, 28 count, I believe. It might be 32. I'd have to go look. Yeah. And I make that base. I don't love Witchell fabric. I don't really like working on it. I don't know. It softens up, but it just drives me nuts. So yeah, so I got I got good progress on that. I would really like to get caught up with that whole stitch along. So it's like, I just have the new piece to come out to stitch when it comes out. I don't know. I don't know if that's happening. We're going to try. The other whips I have to show you are my WIPGO calls. As of last week when I recorded, I hadn't touched one of them and I had done 500 stitches on the other. And my goal with all of my WIPGO projects is to do 1,000 stitches whenever they are called. So I have 12 projects that I picked. I put on the WIPGO board and I did not randomize or anything. I just like threw 12 in, 13 was a free space, which allows me a free start, a new start, and then just repeated them down at the bottom. So those were another thing that really kept me busy this week because I know myself and I know when I fall behind, it's really hard to get going again. So I grabbed Extraordinary Birds, which will look like that when it's all done. It was a SAL from Lola Crow last year. She keeps teasing her new one, and I'm kind of mad at her about it. I don't need any more SALs. Still telling myself I'm not going to do it. I really hope I listen to myself. And this is where it was last time you saw it. I think I was almost done with feature 11, release number 11, and it goes through, there's 14 releases. So those 500 stitches had me finishing feature 11, which was all along the bottom here. This just filling in that stuff down there. And it just amazes me like how she makes something, how she's able to make there's really not a lot of stitches in any one of these birds or flowers. And there is some back stitching, but very little back stitching. And they look so good. Like, I don't know how she does it. It is some kind of special talent. But so I am all caught up through that. And on this little guy was in 12, 11 also. And I had stitches left. So I started 12, which is all right in the center up here. So I got my 500 stitches in on that. So the 1,000 for the WIPGO. So I was able to get that all the way done. I'll show you the whole thing. It does look so good. And I know I will love it when I'm done. It's done in temperature stitching. Oh, maybe I think this was it. I think this was my missing temperature stitching piece. So I think I did 600 stitches in it, honestly. The 500 then plus the 100. There we go. I knew I'd figure it out. It's out of temperature stitching now, though it had hit its 10 times. It will be called again sometime this year for WIPGO. So it'll get another 1,000 stitches there. 1,000 stitches is not going to finish it off. So I think I will rotate it back into temperature stitching when I have some other things out. When I finish out some other things, it will come back in at least one more time for temperature stitching this year. Because I would love to see that done by the end of the year. And my second WIPGO piece, WIPGO, if anyone doesn't know, is a game kind of like bingo. It's only a WIPGO created by Jessie Marie Does Stuff. I will link her down below. Where you have a bingo board. She calls two numbers every month. And those are the projects you work on, and they can be like, there's this whole description video. Maybe I'll just link the description video down below. People use it for lots and lots and lots of different things, which is pretty cool. But my second WIPGO piece was Latitude by Long Dog Samplers. And I hadn't even touched it. I owed it 1,000 stitches. So yeah, I had a really busy stitching week. This is where it was last time you saw it. I also owe a lot of stitches on this because this was the piece that I was using for Whip into Shape Challenge. And also I owe some stitches, I think still, for Great British Bake Off on this. So I have every reason in the world to stitch on this, and I love it. So it's okay. So this is where I got, this is how far I got. That is just a big ass motif is what that is, because 1,000 stitches got me here. So I am almost done with like the first page. I do have it in Markup RXP, but I don't use Markup RXP very well. I need to sit down and do a tutorial or something. It's there, but this is so dumb. I'm stitching from a paper pattern because the Markup RXP keeps going away on my phone, and I just need to, like, I have to, after so many seconds, it disappears. Anyway, I know it's a setting. I just need to figure it out. But when I pull it out, I just want to stitch. I don't want to figure it out. So I'm stitching from the paper pattern and then marking the stitches off in Markup RXP. So I know that's silly, but that's what I'm doing. But yeah, so I got some really cool progress on there. So this is on a full yard. Once I get across, I will probably cut it, but I'm not going to get across anytime soon. So I'll probably be carrying around a full yard of this. But this is Fox and Rabbit 28 count tornado. And I'm using Silks for You PR19, I believe. It is just green. It's not really very variegated or anything, just kind of a nice green. You know, there's a lot going on with the fabric, so there didn't need to be a lot going on with a floss. So 1,000 stitches went so quickly on this, and it always, I say quick. It wasn't quick time-wise. It was quick mentally. And I know I had a needle in here, and I don't know what I did with it, and that's going to bug me. Ooh, I hope I didn't drop it someplace. Anyway, should be here. I'm not going to record searching for my needle. But I just did. So it's just so enjoyable. I really, 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 really enjoy it whenever I do it. It's really good mentally fun work. And by the time I'm at 1,000, I'm like, how am I at 1,000 already? And I know I've been stitching for a good amount of time to get there, but completely painless, completely painless. So yeah, so that is what I worked on this past week. So it's February, and we have our new WIPGO calls for February. Jessie released those on the 24th or 25th or something like that. I think it was the 24th. I think she pulled them a little bit early. She does them on the 25th of every month, but she pulled them a little bit early because of the snowstorm and everything that was coming in. And I don't remember exactly what the numbers were. I want to say 5 and 22. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Go look if you need to know. Don't take my word as gospel. But they are, for me, they are a Scandinavian Christmas. I cannot remember the artist's name right now, but it is charted by Stitches So Beautiful. I will put the artist's name down here. It's charted by Stitches So Beautiful, and I have a very sad little start on that also. This is where it was last time you saw it. I was just dying to start this over the holidays. I picked it up in December. I was dying to start it. I didn't have gridded fabric. I didn't even I'm not even sure I still have all the flosses. And I was just dying to start it. So I'm not sure if this is 18 or 20 count Ada. I'd have to go look. Some kind of Ada. I think it might be 18. I think it's 18. And I just took that sad little pink sewing thread that I have and did all the way across and all the way down, I think for 5 columns, and very quickly found myself wanting more lines. All that I think I put in here was DMC 939. So I was super glad when that was called. I had wanted to start it and let myself start it, but made myself stop. So putting 1,000 stitches into this is going to feel fantastic. I think I am going to fill in those little holes, first kind of like try to diagonalize it sort of like I did with the other one, but I'm definitely going to have to add some more grid marks as I'm getting there, but super excited that that came up. The other piece that came up for WIPGO for me was this piece. I am just calling it Poppies. I have no idea if this piece even has a name. It is an image I think I ran across on social media and just fell in love with. And I don't know if you guys do that, but I'm really good at like screenshotting things when I find things I like and then save them. And then I have a ridiculous number of screenshots and I'm always kind of cleaning them out like, oh, I don't need that anymore. But this one just haunted me and it kept coming back and I kept looking at it. And it's AI art. Like, I don't even know who made it. I think you can get a poster of it. I found a place online where you could get a poster of it, but I've never seen it attributed to anybody. But I just loved it. I just thought it was beautiful. And I just kept on looking at it and thinking, I want that on my wall. And I want to stitch that. I want to stitch that. So this was really my first full coverage piece, proper full coverage piece that I started. So I contacted Michelle at Heaven and Earth Designs and asked her to do a custom chart for me. And she did. And they even kitted it up for me before they stopped doing their services where they were kitting things up. So it's on 25 count, easy grid, even weave. And I'm just using called for DMCs. And like I said, first full coverage project. And I started like recommended 2 strands over 1, which on 25 count is really, really, really super thick. So I stopped working on it for a while because I was like trying to figure out what I was going to do. But I played around with different things and I just was not happy with the coverage. Like it is so dark. There are pieces of it that are so dark. So I'm just going to continue with 2 strands over 25 count. Let me say, a ball tipped needle is saving my life at this point. I got a bunch of ball tipped needles and that is absolutely saving my life on these things because it's a lot easier if you have a thick needle. Like I thought, oh, I need to go down needle size. No, when you're tight like that, you want that thick needle to push through. Anyway, so this is where I was last time you saw it. Not a ton of work on it. It's not a huge piece. It's probably comparable in size to Fairy Tale by Dragon Muse. Really, probably really very close. And they're like kind of skinny and long too. So very similar in dimensions to that. So I'll be delighted to get 1,000 stitches into that. Again, I'm trying to diagonalize it a little bit. It will never be proper clean diagonals, but I'm trying to do that a little bit. And I'm starting to get into, as you can see, I'm starting to get in to more of the flowers. Like the top is pretty dark in general. But I'm starting to get into some more flowers and some more things like that. So I just love the colors in it. It's so bright and cheery and fun. And so you will be seeing progress on those in February. February, as you guys know, is a short month, which means if I am going to make progress on my WIPGO stuff, and my other 2 SALs that aren't like weekly, I'm really going to have to stay on top of it. So I'm going to continue doing temperature stitching for sure. I always make good progress there. And I'm rotating some weird stuff into temperature stitching that hasn't been touched in a really long time, but a lot of it will get done very quickly when it comes up. So looking forward to getting those down. With my finish, I'm now down at 28 whips. 28. Oh, I wish 38 whips, I think 37, something like that. Not an ungodly number, but I would like it to be less, because if it was less, I'm not going to guilt myself so much when I want to start a new project. So I was really, really close, like everything in hand, ready to go to start a new project this morning before I sat down to finish this, to record this. And I made myself stop because I have so many things I want to start, and I don't let myself do it. And I know the whole stitch what you want when you want. I need this structure or else I'm all over the place. So I didn't let myself start it. And I kind of, because I was like, oh, I got to finish. I can do a start. So I think I'm going to say tentatively, it'll probably change by the time I record, that when I get one more thing finished, and I've got several things that are very close to finish. When I get one more thing finished, I can start something new. And then, of course, I have the free start on WIPGO, should I ever get a bingo, or should that space be called. So I've got those coming up. I have several things that are really calling my name. What was in my hands this morning was that new alchemy series by Ink Circles. I have everything except the one back-ordered floss for the one piece for that. So, and those shouldn't take too long. And I know I will love every minute of those. So I don't know, you might see them next week. Who knows? So, but temperature stitching, I'm going to keep up with temperature stitching. Like I said, some weird stuff is in there right now, but a lot of stuff is very close to getting a finish. I just need them called. So they will be finished. I'm going to keep up with the steady thread, stitch alongs. I really like the progress I'm making on those. I wish it was a little bit faster, but at the same time, I am satisfied that they are moving forward and I'm enjoying every minute of it. So can't complain there. Really looking at the WIPGO, trying to get 250 stitches in on each of those projects each week. But it depends. I might just do 500 on one and switch out, then 500 on the other. I don't know what I'm going to do there, but try to get those moving forward. And I really think the top band of the little acorns, the Modern Fork Embroidery, is going to be up there on the list. My round robin piece needs some attention. I did put some stitches into that this week. But my little scissors, the scissor sampler scissors piece, I'll throw it up here. My round robin piece that I need to work on. I did put stitches into it. And I put like a strand of floss into it. And then I was looking at it, I was like, why are my stitches so much lighter than Erin's? And I swear that I looked at this before I started, but she's doing her stitches were 3 strands of floss over 1 on the Ada. And I don't know what size Ada it is. I'm guessing it, just looking at it, it's about 18. And she's doing 3 strands and I was doing 2. So that makes sense. But I had enough done where it's like, I'm not ripping that out. But I wanted them to match. I mean, it's all one piece. I'm just stitching a quarter of it. So I have been going through. Yes, I am the anal. I have been going through and stitching them one by one, like running 1 strand of floss under the crossing stitch and doing it to kind of fix the stitches I have in there before I move forward. So I am hopeful that I will get some more work done on that. I will get the stitches I put in fixed and like up to 3 strands. So I will be working on that too. Of course, Christmas market needs some work as well. So those are really kind of plans going forward. Like I said, I really don't have any haul. Just that one piece for February came in for the Christmas market. You know, I'm a member of some floss clubs for Classic Color Works and Weeks Dye Works, and those I just don't ever show those to you. Those aren't that exciting. But yeah, so I have been pretty good. I haven't been spending a lot of money. So yeah, I think that's about it. So I would love it if you guys would leave me a comment, especially if you made it this far. Please leave me a comment. It kind of kills me sometimes. It feels like I'm totally talking to myself. And in honesty, I am talking to myself, but I'm talking to you. So let me know. Okay, give me advice. Can I start something? I need your permission to start something. Enable me, enable me. I finished something, I should be able to start something, right? I don't know where I'd work it in. It's a bad month to work it in, but I want to start something. So talk to me about that. Share with me what you're working on. Anything. Like I love to know who's out there watching. So reach out. Let me know you're here. And I am going to call it there today. I might even be under an hour, doubtful, but I might be under an hour. So take care. Enjoy your stitching, and I will see you next week. Bye.